Wednesday is ECKD day on IndieVelo, of course. Welcome back. We're glad to have you here again. It's ZMS. We're covering ECKD, as you have done for recent Wednesdays. Their Wednesdays Fun for All race. Fantastic it's been so far. A bit of climbing in there today. Should be quite interesting. They've got to go up over the mountain, back down and back up again. Mountaintop finish, in fact, as dome to drome. Now, or drone to dome, actually. As they go up, so it's from the velodrome, up over the mountain, back down again, back up to the velodrome, and all the way back up for a mountaintop finish. So quite a bit of climbing. 460 metres. Now, in the scheme of things, that doesn't sound a lot. I mean, if you go out on bike rides in real life, you won't think 460 metres is a lot. But bear in mind, that's in 22 kilometres. That's quite a chunk of climbing in a very, very short distance. So it is a climbers race, and I think historically CKD have run a lot of flat races on RGT, so not quite sure how their regular customers, shall we say, are going to take to this one. It's quite interesting. I was fascinated on Monday and Monday Monarchy. We had a mountain. It was an up and over in that one, in fact. The Swan, up the same mountain, but looping around the lake. If you look at the map in front of you, we did a loop around the lake, whereas they're doing the velodrome. We just went up it and back down again. Still got a decent turnout, 77 riders, and I was pleased to say, I have to admit, there were one or two riders in there that I thought would avoid a hilly one, and they didn't. So hopefully, fingers crossed, ECKD's flat guys will take the challenge and do a bit of climbing. Two climbs, effectively, one big descent and a bit of velodrome in the middle. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. So I wonder how many people we have got on the start line. Let's have a look. Nice and cloudy with that sort of evening time. 29 on the line. I mean, that's quite healthy, and we've still got 49 seconds to go. I think this will be a decent ride. I know plenty of people doing sort of things like time trials and what have you for the Love TTT series. So maybe if we just get one more and get it onto the 30, that would be a nice round number, wouldn't it? But 33 seconds to go. I think the pen's going to close any moment now, so probably stuck on 29. Just fingers crossed we get a 30th one in, and looks like we're not going to. It will be closing now. So team scratch race, drone to dome. Quite a few Danish flags in the lineup. You can see Ronnie Hackinson, Thomas Helveg, Bruno Pereira, of course, Portuguese. Eugene Korolov from Russia. Great to see you there. JD with the Israeli flag. I'm not sure if he's Israeli or not. James Melville, the Scotland flag, riding from Dumbarton, just outside Glasgow. In the dim evening light, off they go. You can see mountains in the background, can't you? Very scenic, and they've got those coniferous trees in the scenery, giving you that kind of mountain feel. In fact, I'm not sure. I'm no biologist, I can tell you, but I do wonder whether islands and islands of sandy beaches in sort of generally clear-skied places have that many coniferous trees. I don't know. It depends where they probably are in the world. I do think coniferous trees tend to be in the northern hemisphere, sort of kind of at the the northern end of it as well. Now they slide down towards the coast here. You can see there's some hairpins on this bend down from the velodrome, as you probably know if you've ridden many of these rides, and they're not particularly steep. I mean, they will have to come back up here after they've done the first mountain, and if you look at the profile along the bottom, they've got the first big mountain that they're going to go over. They come down again. The little bump in the middle between the two mountains is effectively what we're on now. That's when they go back up to the velodrome and then back down again. So they're coming down the velodrome, and then they've got that mountaintop finish at the end. Now, Nicky Hogard is out front at the moment. This is a descent at the moment, so I don't think the pacer bot was in there. The pacer bot can be a bit tricky on this course because he gets into a downhill very, very fast. Nobody's got any brakes, so they go flying past the pacer bot. So anything starting on the drome, a little more difficult, but I don't think we needed it tonight. 29 riders in the race. Still 29 riders on the course. That'll be actually 28 because, of course, we've got one camera bot in there. Craig Jones in there. Joris Sheppers, JD for Israel, and mostly Dane. Matthew Matthew Fosgard is in there for British rider. Who else we got? Inmar van Beurs. I don't know if Jorgen is, but Rasmus Feldball in there. Christian Viebo. Matthew Forshaw, as I said, riding for Electric Spirit. So the Electric Spirit team out this week again. So Craig Jones off the front. He's in that. He's a Welshman, and that's why he's chosen those colours: the red, green, and white of the Welsh flag. No dragons on there, but there we are. Inmar van Beurs riding for Ratio Racing, of course, putting out 350 watts now. Cadence not just around 100. That's fairly fast and not bad showing from the Van Beurs brothers. So who else we've got? Matt James is in there as well, another Welshman. That's two Welsh riders in here, which is not a bad percentage for a race with 29 riders. Down to 27 on the course now. I'm not quite sure what's happened to some of those people. So we look at this little group out front. Wouter Clay's in there, we haven't mentioned. Ivor Copsey as well. These guys, for some reason, are off the back, and I'm not quite sure what's going on there, because it's saying that Thomas Helveg is 23rd out of 27 riders. That doesn't seem right for this calibre of rider. He's got Sean Lavelle above him, and I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Something has happened, and we've got some good riders off the back. Mind you, good riders on a course like this, I think they can make their mark and still make it up, and people will get dropped on this climb. Joris Scheppers currently out the front, the Belgian rider. He's ahead of Rasmus Feldball riding for ECKD. The Electric Spirit rider, Matthew Forshaw, Nicky Hogard for ECKD. JD with the Israeli flag. Craig Jones with the Welsh coloured kit. Ivor Copsey riding Slovenia. Ratio Racing again. And Torquist, Morten Tilquist riding for Torquist. Ingevar van Beurs, Ratio Racing. John Sammer in there for Pokemotion. Great, just a couple of seconds off the pace there, but John will be thereabouts, there or thereabouts in the reckoning when we get to the end. Now, they are getting to the foot of the climb. They definitely turned inland. It's not really what I would call the climb right now. Kurt Pedersen now looking at 20th towards the back. And as I say, there's some James Melville all the way back there as well. Something, Wouter Clay's only 3 seconds off there. So I'm not really quite sure what might have happened to these riders, but they seem to have somehow or other got dislodged from the main peloton. Never mind, I reckon they'll still all get back on. Pedigree riders here, Wouter Clay's, Nicky Hayward, and so on and so forth. James Melville in there as well. Kurt Pedersen we've mentioned. Thomas Helveg, I think. Sean Lavelle for OTR will be in green and white, if you pick the green and white jersey out. James Melville in the light and dark blue. Now look at them, everybody's slowing down there as they hit that gradient. 11%, right? 9%. These hurt in IndieVelo. They're very realistic. Some platforms you do find that the gradients are sort of kind of a bit softer than they are in real life. Matthew Forshaw off the front now. He's running for Electric Spirit. As I say, Electric Spirit got this new kit now, the orange and white, which is quite eye-catching. I will say, from a common sense point of view, there are a lot of teams using orange. So I'm always intrigued. If you look at 1980s pro cycling, everybody's got the brightest colour possible to get noticed. And then Team Sky came along, sometime later, and thought, well, actually, if everybody's got bright colour and we put black, it will stand out. And then all the other teams got darker colours, and they didn't stand out anymore. James Melville just behind Ronnie. Here comes James now going past, and these riders have been dropped out of the pack, and for whatever reason James and the others were behind. They're going to make it up on this climb, in my view. So ECKD's race and fun for all, week 4 well underway. 22 kilometres to go, 460 metres of climbing, if I recall, and that is quite a lot for this sort of race. So the times won't be time trial times. They will be, of course, slowed down by these climbs. Now, if you want to see the world and the world of IndieVelo, look out this January. We've got the Tour du Monde coming your way, OTR's Prestige Blue Ribbon event. It's been running for years on RGT, and he's coming over to IndieVelo, here we are, talking more. And there's 12 stages, and it starts in January, as I say. Look out for this. OTR putting this one together, as usual. And you can see from the graphics, this is going to be absolutely thriller. ZMS providing all the coverage as well. You can't beat it, can you? Absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to that. So, talking on 24 coming your way in January. 18 kilometres to go. It's going to be slow at the moment, as we look at Craig Jones on the right hand side. A lot of ECKD riders now on the right. Nicky Hogard, one of them. You can see the red strip there. It's Kurt Pedersen and Nicky Hogard just there. They're behind Craig. You can see a little bit further up the road. 7%, and they're not even a third of the way up this climb yet. Wouter Claes is now off the front. Now, he was caught back a little while ago, and I said to you that these guys would make up the difference. John Samet up there, Iger Copsey, Jorgen van Beurs, Imar van Beurs, Morten Tilquist, all names you'd expect. Joris Schepper's up there, the Belgian rider. So Ratio putting in a bit of a bid there with Ingmar, Jorgen and Joris Schepper's three riders. ECKD well represented, of course. John Samet for Pokemotion is in there as well. And as I say, Wouter Claes off the front. Well, he's not anymore, is he? Well, he is now, because we got JD just tucking in as well. So between Wouter and JD now off the front. Now they've got 4 seconds. Well, no, maybe not 4 seconds. I mean, sorry, Matthew Forshaw has got 3 seconds on them, so it's Matthew Forshaw. But they've got a few seconds on Morten Tilquist, Danish rider, who's got John Samet with him, Jorgen van Beurs and Ingmar van Beurs in a little group. Here they are. You see 2 Ratio jerseys. Ratio with the black strip with the orange markings, and the black and orange one is, of course, John Samet. That will be the Pokemotion kit. The green jersey, I'm not sure who that will be. It might be Morten Tilquist, I think. Possibly. Anyway, he's in the groups. We know that, don't we? All moving about. So it's quite fragmented at the moment. If you look on the left-hand side, you can see that there's several groups now, 11 groups altogether. I mean, don't read too much into that, because 11 groups, you know, be the odd solo rider dropped on the climb. John Samet back to Group 5 there. So it'd be quite interesting to see where this all plays out. They're coming up to about, the leaders at least, are coming up to about halfway up the mountain. So there's quite a bit of climbing still to do. Iger Copsey now, Varasio off the front. He's ahead now of Matthew Forshaw, who is solo in what we call Group 2. Wouter Claes Group 3, JD Group 4, John Samet and a few others in Group 5. And then behind them, quite a few riders. So there's probably about 10 riders still in contention. I wouldn't read too much into the gaps right now, but they are eking out a little bit. Iger Copsey now off the front, but he's got 8 seconds on Matthew Forshaw. He's got another 6 on Wouter Claes, who's got another 6 on JD, who's got yeah, and there are gaps all over the place. This is the Electric Spirit rider Matthew Forshaw chasing down Iger Copsey for Ratio Racing. 300 watts, and it's quite sustained climbing this. And remember, this is 460 metres, and if we ignore the little bit up to the velodrome in the middle, you're looking at probably 200 metres per climb, and they've got basically the 2 big climbs, the one they're on now, about 2/3 of the way up now, as we look at Wouter Claes for Moon Riders, and just he goes past the sun, not the moon. That would have been such a brilliant shot, a Moon Riders rider with the moon in the background, but it's the sun, isn't it? And the sunset, absolutely beautiful. Look at the way it shines across the sea there in the graphics. Fantastic stuff. Be interesting to see what IndieVelo does going forward. We're still beta testing on it. I think the scenery and the graphics are great. They do lack. We're having an argument now. Damon thinks that's the moon. I think it's the sun. Anyway, if it is the moon, that was the shot, wasn't it? That was the money shot. JD here now, the Israeli rider, I assume. Now, as I say, there's not too many buildings and little sort of novelty things like you might see on other platforms on IndieVelo, because they're very much focused at the moment on the racing aspect, getting everything to work and function properly, and then all the sort of kind of nice nice sort of peripheral bits and superstructure can go on later. I don't think this is not a bad approach. I mean, we're getting great racing on the platform, but as I say, I think there's going to be so much to come graphically. But look, the graphics are fantastic. And I was saying during Monday Malarkey on Monday when they went up the dome as well, is that the one of the things I like is the way the trees thin out as you go up the mountain. And I would make the comment, I do appreciate that it's not really tree line level because it's not that altitude. Would need to be higher than that, but it mimics it, doesn't it? And it gives you that sort of sense of, if you've ridden up the Great Mountains, particularly the European ones, you know, in the Alps and Pyrenees, you will know that as you get higher up, the trees thin out, and that's exactly what's happening on this. If you see how many trees there are at this stage, and then eventually it goes bald and white, a bit like Mont Ventoux at the top. And I think this is very cleverly done. It might not be scientifically quite how the trees would work, but for me, scientifically, if there's such a word, I've just made a word up, scientifically. There we are. I think that's definitely the sun, Damon. I'm sorry. It's too yellow for the moon. And the moon is more defined, isn't it? It doesn't have a glow around it in my book. So I'm going for the sun. This is the sun, the moon set. Oh, I see. Oh, I see what you're saying, that you think actually it was, yeah, okay. We shall see. Maybe Damon's right. If the sun gets higher, that was the moon on the other side. So we're wrong. So that was the money shot. We've missed it now. We'll have to see if we can get it again. You can see the top of the climb now. Now you can see the rock after we go under the banner there. They do a loop around that, all around the side of it on the flat. But this marks the top of the climb, and it's Iger Copsey now. He's got quite clear of Matthew Forshaw, the electric spirit rider. He's over the line. He's going to go to the right, do a loop, and you can see on the left where the road rejoins it. So it's just a little bit of a loop down here. If you look up in the top right-hand corner at the road layout, you can see that little loop as we watch Matthew coming in for electric spirit now, and you can see he's going to go to the right, round that loop, and back down. So the huge descent after this, but you need to accelerate here, otherwise you get left behind. Mount of Clay is still very much in this, as which JD struggling away at the top. It gets very sort of steep there. You can see it's up into double digits, that 10%. But once you get over it, there we are, it drops immediately to 6%. What a great view that is. And oh, that is a fantastic view with the sun and everything, isn't it? It's sun or moon, whichever it is. So it's Damon obviously understands this better than I do. So James Melbourne and a little trio. There's several riders now. So the race is still on as we watch Jorgen van Beurs go past Morten Tilquist and try and get that group of 5 together. They need to do a bit of chasing down on the others. We can't see the others coming round at the moment. Here's Jakob Ivid. He's just about to get to the top, but he's 17 seconds behind Morten as they sail around that mountain. We're not seeing the leaders coming round the other side of the mountain quite yet. Sometimes when you look, taking this view, you can see the guys coming around on the left. We're back to Rasmus Feldpool and looking now at the front of the race, Iger Copsey now. Now, you can see where Iger is on the left-hand screen. You can see the arch that he's going to go through. That's where the roads rejoin. As Iger comes back, this is where the roads rejoin. I hadn't seen, with the other guys coming up, we hadn't seen Iger coming around. Anybody coming up now is going to see Iger coming down, and they're going to realise just how far they are off the lead at the moment. 27 riders still in it. That's 26 minus the bot, and there's a rider coming up now. This is Ingemar van Beurs, Ratio Racing, and you can see there on the left we get, it's probably not Igor, is it? It's whoever's in second. Oh, a couple of riders there. So you start seeing them coming around and the big descent. Now, this is a huge descent, takes up quite a bit of the race. Then they're back to the velodrome. Iger Copsey now for Ratio. Wouter Clays has, so it was Wouter Clays and Matthew Forshaw we saw coming the other way. This is Craig Jones going up the mountain. Look at that, 10%. It still hasn't quite got to the top. You can see the arch though, so he knows that respite and relief is coming any moment now. Craig in the Welsh colours, of course, as always. Power 210. Always going to be taken by Ronnie Hackinson from IVFC, one of the that's IndieVelo Founders Club, although he is a Dane. IndieVelo Founders Club is the one you can choose if you're not affiliated to any club. So Niels Bjornstein, we're just going over the line there, and we're back with Igor, who's storming down at a massive 71 kph, and you can really do this. You don't freewheel down these, you need to pedal. And Iger now at 15 seconds on Matthew and Wouter Claes. So I think he's got quite a clean, quite a bit of clear air there, Iger, but it's not over yet. And of course, we've got one big climb to come. He's holding the gap though, 15 seconds between Wouter and Iger. Matthew for sure with Wouter. They're obviously riding together. Here they are. Riding as a duo effectively. Wouter puts his chin down on the bars, sits in, taking a bit of draft from Matthew. Matthew does the same, taking a bit of draft from Wouter. Not sure how coordinated this really is, but let's pretend it is, shall we? And congratulate these riders on exemplary riding. Well done, guys. You need to catch up. So 16 seconds. Iger's taken another second on you. You're going to need to do something about that, guys. Working hard to catch up with Iger Copsey. We look at both of them now. Iger Copsey on the left and Wouter and Matthew on the right. Wouter just pulling away a little bit from Matthew. I don't think he'll make that stick, but Matthew can't let him get too far because they need to work together, I think, to haul in Iger. So I think Matthew now sort of kind of responding, not quite on the wheel. He's pulling close now, but he's going to go flying past. No brakes on this, so you can't do the time trial judgments. Without the brakes and steering, you can't quite sit on a wheel in the way you could on RGT when we had both of those features. But hey ho, I'm sure all this stuff's coming, isn't it? I mean, this is beta testing. Look how good it is. Absolutely amazing. So, will they make the catch? I think it's a tool. It's a big ask for these two to make that catch, and it's really what Iger's got left in the tank on that big second and final climb, isn't it? We'll have to see what he's got left. Iger Copsey now, 18 seconds. He's pulling away, isn't he? He's got a minute on John Samat. That is amazing. These two now pulled it down at 17 seconds, but they're going to need to pull back more than that. It's on the flat now. Working together might be to their advantage in the sense that Iger's on his own. He's pulled it out to 18, just sort of yo-yoing between 18 and 17 seconds in the lead. 10.5 kilometres left to race. We are about halfway through. You can see the on the right there, the map. We've been round the mountain, we're down the mountain again. It goes past the lake, along the coast, back up to the velodrome, a lap of the velodrome, then back up to the top of the mountain for the mountain finish. I don't think there's going to be riders neck and neck at the mountain finish. I think that's going to be very, very strung out. You're watching ECKD, brought to you by ZMS, your top esports broadcaster, producing all the best coverage. And I'm Dave Morrison from Monday Malarkey, sitting in doing the commentary for Damon tonight. But it's a ZMS production, ECK running the races, IndieVelo providing the platform, and there's some guys out there providing the entertainment. Well done, everybody in that race. 17 seconds, 18 seconds. Iger Copsey just holding that gap. Wouter and Matthew not really pulling it down. Is James Melville within reach of those two? Possibly not, but I think JD's well out of that. They're down to the coast, so it's going to go flat now. And also, I think if you look at the wind direction in the top right-hand corner, the arrow pointing upwards suggests they've got the wind behind them. This is, if Iger's had the advantage of that for a few metres, just maybe, this is where they can make up the difference. Although it's now gone out to 19 seconds. So, well, we'll have to see. Iger just holding it neatly there, isn't he? He's on his own, though. If the other two work together, they can conserve some energy. If Iger gets a little bit tired of all this work on his own, he could be there for the taking. Looking back at Martin Tilquist's group, he's got John Samet with him, Jorgen van Beurs, JD we know about, and James Melville in this group. This is quite an elite group of 5 riders now. They've got 9.7 kilometres to go, getting ever closer to the finish in this IndieVelo race on ECKD. E-Cycling Club Denmark, it stands for. Plenty of Danes in there. Just look at the right hand side, you can see all those red flags with the white cross on. That is Denmark. James Melville now pulling out ahead of this group. What will happen next? Jesper is just behind. No, it's JD just behind him. We've got Jesper Getnik behind him and Jorgen van Beurs in that group. John Samet in the just on the very right of your screen in the bright orange and black, riding for Pokermotion. He's got Morten Tilquist with him, but then there's a big gap to backwards to Jakob Ivid from the ECKD team. He's with Joris Scheppers, Ratio Racing. Ratio Racing's kit, that black you can see in there at the moment. They're just in third position with the sort of red and orange writing. That's Jorgen van Beurs, one of the van Beurs brothers. Ingmar in the race too. We're seeing a little bit of a pull away now though, aren't we? This group, is it fragmenting or not? James Melville happy to sit there. Yes, forgetting it. It's Wouter Clay's ahead of them, but this is Jesper Vetnik now pulling away in green. Danish rider, but no affiliation to the ECKD team or one of its subsidiaries as I can see at the moment. He's pulling out a bit of ground though, isn't he? He's still got a long way though. Wouter Clay's 40 seconds ahead, and Wouter absolutely losing ground to Igor Kopsy. That's a 20-second gap, over 20 seconds gap between Igor, Wouter and Matthew. So the race fragmenting a little bit. These guys now halfway, they're going back up towards the velodrome. They've done the beach, they've done the coastal bit, they're turning inland, they're going up to the velodrome. One lap of the velodrome. Remember, it's the little twists and hairpin bends here. If you look in the top right hand corner of the screen and see what they're doing. Wouter Clays now, Matthew Forshaw, we're still with him. 21 seconds to Igor. They are losing ground ever so slightly. They're not making up the gaps. This is a difficult one. I don't think they're going to do it. I just got that feeling that Igor Kopsy has got enough to see this one through. But never underestimate a hilltop finish. There's still some drama to come, I'm sure. What about these two? Will they stick together? Will they play cat and mouse at the end? Who will win out of those two? Even this group, 2 ECKD riders in with a Ratio. It's Rasmus Feldball and of course your Jakob Hivid with Joris Scheppers for Ratio. And they've got 8.2 kilometres to go. They're just coming up to the velodrome. So one whiz around the velodrome, then very, very fast, and then it'll all be down to the mountain climb. Now, the mountain climb in the first section of the race has absolutely decimated this as we watch Igor now going round the velodrome. No banking on the velodrome here. It's completely flat. He's off the velodrome. He's back on that downhill. He'll start seeing his rivals coming up the hill in the opposite direction. The second and third, Wouter and Matthew, though, halfway round the velodrome, through the arch, round to this final bend. Then they make the right-hand turn onto the descent. Can they catch Wouter? Igor, sorry. That's 25 seconds. It's getting worse. Igor now pulling out even more. And I think Igor is pretty much odds on to win the race. Matthew and Wouter sticking together. I think these guys are going to just have to see who's got the legs on the mountain. I think the attack, second half of the mountain, is where those two will sort themselves out. Jorgen van Beurs is leading the next batch. James Melville, John Samet, JD and Morten Tilquist making up that group. Joris Scheppers, another 46 seconds behind them. Can they make that up? It's still a big ask to do 46 seconds in the time that's left. But remember, this is no ordinary course. It's mountain climbing. People will get caught out. People will have tired legs, depending on the effort they put in to stay where they are in the race. Igor Kopsy now, 27 seconds. He's eking out second after second. But nevertheless, the two riders behind him stuck together almost like glue, aren't they? They're absolutely working together here. And I do get the impression they are taking turns on the front. I'm not sure if they're communicating. I doubt it. They're on separate teams. But I think there is a sort of decency here that they're sort of working together rather than somebody just sitting there. So, looking at James Melville's group now. Ratio rider, sorry, not Ratio, Locomotion rider is, of course, John Sammet, and you can see they're looking at riders going the other way as they descend away from the velodrome, round this hairpin bend, back to the velodrome we are. This is Joris Scheepers. He's the Ratio rider, and he is with Rasmus Feldball and Jakob Hivid, both in the ECKD kits. The red jersey with that white band around it. If you know anything about British football, you'll know that looks very much like Middlesbrough's kit. Quite a unique kit in the UK. So looking like Middlesbrough. We were at Ingmar van Beurs, one of the other Ratio. Good turnout from Ratio, isn't it? Ratio is Welsh for racing. So Ratio racing means racing. So I'm not sure Welsh people repeat everything. But there are plenty of signs that are in Welsh and English when you go there, so it's not uncommon to see the same word twice, I guess, in different languages. This is Craig Jones talking about Welsh people. Craig Jones with the Welsh dragon flag, as you can see, red, green and white kit to match. Nice little group of four here. This could evolve into another one of those interesting last climbs, possibly even a little bit of a lunge at the finish to see who can beat who. Halfway round the velodrome now for them. Over that line, three of them moving out. I don't think they're going to drop the fourth rider, though. No, the IndieVelo Founders Club rider, Ronnie Hackinson, just keeping on. I don't know if Ronnie's struggling to keep on or not, but he's certainly there's certainly a little bit of a gap there, and he's not sort of sitting tight on the wheel. Maybe he just doesn't need to. But if I were in his position, I think I would be trying to sit on that wheel. And maybe they're not letting 40 kph. Although they are going downhill minus 2%. He's pulling back, isn't he? He's got back on, so he hasn't been dropped. And maybe it's just a bit of a sit up and let the descent make the catch up. 4 kilometres to go for Iga Copsey now, the Ratio rider, 34 seconds ahead of Wouter and Matthew. They're not going to make that up. I mean, even allowing for the climb, I think this is Iga's to lose now. And whilst I can't possibly say that he is going to win, because we don't know yet, all sorts of things can happen. Dropouts, tired legs, maybe a second win from these guys. But I think if you look at the form book at the moment, all the evidence we're seeing, Iga has pulled that gap out throughout the race. Still got 27 riders in this, so no more dropouts since those early ones, as the riders go left there and split out towards the second climb of the mountain. So JD in here, the Israeli rider. Now you can see they're not far off going up the other big mountain, this group, are they? They're very close to it. They've gone inland from the sea, looking at John Stammer, JD, Morden Tilquist, and a couple of others. They've gone inland, so they're definitely on that climb bit now, and it's gonna. I say they're on that climb bit. It's not steep yet, is it? They haven't got to the steep bit. They're just on those sort of like kind of foothills, but I think it's coming up soon. We watch these Jakob Hivid now turning inland. Once you turn inland, you get that little bit of a climb. But like I say, I don't think that's really like what I call the climb. I think it kicks in a little bit later. So plenty more for these guys to endure before they get to that finishing line. 5% now for Iga Copsey. He's got a very healthy lead. He's lost 3 seconds, but he got to the hill first, and the other guys got to negotiate it. So it's down to 30 seconds now. We'll see. We'll have to see whether this is going to be the undoing of Iga Copsey, because the gap has certainly come down 3 or 4 seconds since he's been on that hill. Has he got the legs? Down to 29 seconds. Wouter Clay's probably got the bit between his teeth. This is Wouter charging off. Is Matthew struggling to keep on, or has Wouter just caught him out a little bit? Matthew getting back onto Wouter's wheel. They've got it down to 28 seconds now. They've got 28 seconds. There's only 3 kilometres to go, but it's uphill. This could be quite tense. Worrying times for Iga Copsey. 27 seconds is a lot. You've got two strong riders behind you, though. Matthew Forshaw riding for Electric Spirit in the orange and white, and you've got Wouter Claes riding for Moon Riders in the grey just ahead of him. This climb's going on for some while. If you look down in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the yellow arrow and how far it is up that slope. That's not very far at all. Really, really at the beginning. So anybody's guess, can the gap be made up? This is always exciting. Only 2.6 kilometres to go. Like I said, if this was on the flat, you wouldn't give them a chance. But they're making up seconds now for the first time in a long while in this race. Is Igor tired? Are they just better climbers? And Igor knew that, so he wanted a bit of a gap to get out in front of them. Who knows? Who knows? These guys will kind of know how they all stand relative to each other, because I'm sure they race each other all the time and know a lot of the characteristics of the other rider. But one thing I do know is we all know that leading the race at the moment, and it's James Melville. Sorry, I was going to say James Melville will like the climbs. Wouter Claes we know can climb. Igor Copsey, I think, will. I think the gap's sort of down to about 20 seconds now, isn't it? So it's not all over. James Melville now in the camera shot. He's 49 seconds behind Matthew and Wouter, but he's eked out 13 seconds, in front of JD. Jorgen van Beurs further back still. Very much splintering at the moment. Looking at the lead riders, just as JD, about a quarter of the way up the mountain at the moment. Power at 300, cadence 70 sounds like the sort of thing I would do. 70, not the fastest cadence, but we all have different styles here. Some people like to have a bit more power. Some people like to have less power and more speed at spinning. You have to choose what suits you. So no judgments about people's readings from me, because I think we are all different. I'm sure that there are ways of looking at this as a pro where you probably need to get the ratio between two things right. So these statistical sort of kind of facts, if you like, for want of a better word, that they are. This is Jorgen van Beurs' group, and it's not as fragmented as you might think, is it? I mean, there are three of them here. That's Jorgen, and they've got Jesper and Morten, and Jorgen, Morten, and Jesper. So this little group, Jesper Gesnick. So with just 1.6 kilometres to go, I think Igor Copsey is not going to get caught, is he? He's got 17 seconds on Wouter Claes and 16 seconds on Matthew Forshaw, but I don't know that they can make that up in 1.5 kilometres. I think he's going to hold it, isn't he? It's a great effort, though, isn't it? Just look at this, 15 seconds now between Matthew and Wouter. Remember, too, though, that he will reach the top before them, and there's not very much after that steep section you really got to race. You'll remember the banner from the first time we went up this. The gap's still at 15 seconds, not really closing, and time running out. 1.5 kilometres for the second two, even less for Igor Copsey off the front. James Melville a full minute and more behind Wouter, and I think Matthew's pulling away from Wouter a little bit there. It's only a second, but it looks to me as if he is pulling away. I think that's going to go up to 2 seconds very, very soon. It's already 3. So Matthew now showing himself to be the stronger rider, and Wouter Claes now having to dig in to get up that hill as Matthew storms up it. 1.3 kilometres to go. We're going to see Igor Copsey win this. There's only 12 seconds between him and Matthew, and he's only got 1,200 metres. So unless Matthew can make up 1 second every single metre, yes, 1 second every metre, he's not going to win this, and it's holding at 12. This is Igor Copsey about to go through the Flamme Rouge. He's eked it out 12 seconds, so it's going in the right direction gap-wise. Time running out. I think Matthew, if he's going to win this race, now has to absolutely get out the pedals and push like mad and put everything into it. Well, of course, we all know that Wouter will have been on the flat and probably eke out a second or two more, I think, before Matthew really has a chance to sort of kick in and chase him up. Matthew now 11 seconds. It's not a lot, but only 900 metres to go. Still got to do nearly a second faster than Wouter for every single 100 metres. So Igor Kopsy now, the gap at 11 seconds, 700 metres to go. I think he's safe, but you don't sit up, do you? You just don't. Oh, it's 10 seconds now. It's tense, isn't it? And Wouter has fought back. Wouter catching up with Matthew Forshaw now. They're still, I think they're not going to catch Igor. The gap's still around that, about the same as it was before, about that 10 to 12 second mark. They're not going to make it up. 600 metres for these two to go. Which one out of these two is going to get second place? And Matthew fighting back a little bit. 9 seconds though Igor Kopsy's got. 500 metres, 9 seconds. And you can see the two riders behind. 7 seconds now. Have they got enough to get it back? This is really tense. 27 riders still in the race, but it's these three at the front that we're getting excited about. And the gap now, 7 seconds. Matthew Earnshaw, he's got 416 metres. But I think if you look at the two riders behind, I still think they're going to run out of time. But look at the effort they're putting into closing him down. And you can see that gap getting smaller and smaller, even though the time gap doesn't look massive. And it's down to 6 seconds. Can they make up 5 seconds in 300 metres? They both got sprints on them. And remember, once over the top, it'll be who's got the legs to sprint. Matthew Forshaw looking slightly stronger out of these two at the moment. The gap is definitely closing. Has Igor got enough in the tank? And is the road going to run out? Wouter Clay's now pushing hard. The gap down to 5 seconds. This is absolutely thrilling. It gets really steep at the top. 7 seconds now. 7%, 9%. This is a tough bit. As they go around this bend, you'll start seeing the arch that they've got to go under at the top of the climb. But I think there it is. You can see that on the toughest bit now. 16 seconds for Igor. He's got 6 seconds on Matthew. He's going to get over the top. Matthew absolutely putting everything into this to keep Igor within sight. There's only 88 metres to go, and Igor is just going to hold on. That's it. Igor takes it. Well done, Igor. What about these two? Wouter going for the sprint at the end, and Wouter typically taking that just on the line after sitting behind. Well, you didn't. That was exciting, wasn't it? You can't complain about that. James Melville now following up. Will he get fourth place? I think he will. He's got a decent gap on JD. I think it's going to be very fragmented from here. Maybe Morten Tilquist and Jorgen van Beurs have got a little bit of a tussle. John Sammett's group, Jakob Hivid, perhaps a little bit of a contest there. But I think the hills have fractured the race. And 27 riders, so 26 finishers tonight, assuming everybody gets in. Pretty decent, given that ECKD, quite renowned for flat races, to put on a hilly one like this, as we watch James from Dumbarton, just outside Glasgow, northwest of Glasgow, near Loch Lomond, as it happens. Dumbarton itself is a town. You don't have to ride very far, and it is absolutely beautiful just outside Dumbarton, trust me. It is amazing. So, James now with just 190 metres to go. I don't think he's in any danger of getting caught by riders behind. A couple of Danish riders, Morten Tilquist, of course, one of them. As James can now see the arch, putting that little bit of effort in, moving the body around, getting out the saddle slightly, as we watch JD behind now. And he's ahead of Jesper Getfnik, Morten Tilquist, the two Danish riders. Jorgen van Beurs for Horacio behind him. James now coming up to this final bit. It's not snow on these mountains. It's oh, it looks like snow. It's fantastic, isn't it? It's pretty. I say it's chalk. It's just drawings, isn't it? It's not real. it's like Mont Ventoux. Well done, James Melville from Dumbarton in Scotland. JD with the Israeli flag now coming through. Well ridden, JD. You certainly put something into this race, and you deserve getting a good result. Fourth place, well done. Sorry, fifth place, I should say. James, of course, taking fourth. Yes, Forgetnik is next in the green. Danish but not affiliated to an ECKD team. Morten Tilquist is though TQST. I don't know how it's affiliated, but I think it is one of the affiliated ECKD teams. The way they structure ECKD is have lots and lots of teams. Well done, Morten. Fantastic stuff. Jorgen van Beurs, one of the Van Beurs brothers, both ride for Ratio. It's Jorgen's night tonight. He crosses the line ahead of his brother and ahead of John Sammer in the orange and black of Pokemotion. Always throws me a little bit because they had white before, didn't they, on the other platform? But nothing than that. 15%, but it's not going to be 15% for much longer, and he can then coast into the finishing line. He has got Jakob Evid Jakob Evid's going to take him. Absolutely amazing. John Sammet losing that right at the end. Jakob just having enough to get up that steep bit faster than John and come out of it faster and take him on the sprint. Joris Shepherd's for Ratio now, next rider up. So I better be careful what I predict. But I'm telling you now, he's got a minute on Rasmus Feldpool, and Rasmus is not going to make that one up. Rasmus, I don't know if Rasmus would agree with me. I think Rasmus is very much a rider that attacks off the front on the flatter races. But there's Joris Shepherd's coming in. Rasmus next up. And this is Rasmus in the CKD kit, the red and white, as I was explaining earlier, that looks to the average British eyes as like a Middlesbrough football kit. So Rasmus now with 240 metres to go. He's ahead of the other one of the Van Beurs brothers, Ingmar. We get towards the finish. And so let's just see. I'm getting loads of messages flying up on my screen here. Not to do with the cycling, unfortunately. Asking me if I want to do a podcast about music. Actually, I'm busy doing podcasts for cyclists at the moment, and I'll have to have a look at that later, won't I? So Rasmus now 130 metres to go, and the arch will come into view. Ingmar van Beurs 16 seconds behind is not going to make that one up. I'll be very... I say that. It's rapidly coming down. In the time it took me to say that, 3 seconds disappeared off of that. I think it's Wouter Clay's going back down the mountain, isn't it? And it's down to 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds in 70 metres. No, it can't happen. No, it's gone out to 13. So I think Rasmus is going to hold his place there. Well done, Rasmus. Fantastic finishing. And that's a beautiful view, isn't it? The sun has definitely come up, so I think Damon must have been right. It must have been the moon setting and the sun rising. So I got that wrong. So we got the moon riders shot absolutely bang on earlier as we watched the Ratio rider Ingmar van Beurs coming home to take the next place. Ronnie Hackinson 14th now. So about halfway through the race finishers now. Ronnie is 7 seconds ahead of Christian Weidbo, who you haven't mentioned, I think, in the commentary. So sorry about that, Christian. But you're going to be within shot now. I don't think you're going to catch Ronnie, are you? But no, I think you're going to be 6-7 seconds behind him. So well done, Ronnie. And we better focus on Christian because I don't think I mentioned him. Christian Weidbo. I don't think I mentioned him once in the commentary until now. So sorry about that, Christian. Another Danish rider, not affiliated to a team, according to the data on the right. Well done, Christian, and apologies for leaving you out. Craig Jones always gets a mention from us because of the Welsh kit and the Welsh dragon flag. Matt James also Welsh. There's 2 Welsh riders coming in, and they are breaking up that string of Danish flags, aren't they? Craig now 19 seconds ahead of the first of those Danes, Niels Bjornstein. So I think he's fairly safe. He's just coming out the top steep bit now, drops to 6%. You can see the finish, and there's every incentive to put your foot down and go for it, unless of course you're absolutely tired out and have decided that you're just going to do it. So 16th position for Craig Jones. Well done, Jack Craig. 17th is going to go to Niels Bjornstein, and But there's no chance of Nicky Haugaard catching him. It's quite interesting, some of these riders that do travel the front of some races, and you get a big climb like this and it all changes. We always noticed in our West London ones that Top Jimmy, one of our riders, absolutely loves these sorts of climbs and does better in these races than he does on the flat, which most of the rest of us struggle to understand, but that's what he does, and well done. Nicky Haugaard then is just 440 metres from the finish, and you see there's the effect when you get to the top. There's no trees, and you can see the amount of trees that are actually on the roadside thinning out here to replicate that tree level sort of feel you get when you do real mountains. Of course, 7% for Nicky at the moment, and chugging up there, 18th position, 26 riders it says. I don't know if that's because one of the people who've already finished have finished, but we're going to assume that there'll be 26 finishers, because the 27 that were registered will include one of the camera bots, or the camera bot, should I say. So we're looking at 26 finishers. Quite healthy stuff. IndieVelo building up its numbers quite nicely. In recent weeks, we had the influx of people when the RGT platform shut down. I mean, I've certainly been on this now for around 6 months, I think. And I've certainly been running races since the beginning of July. So quite a few races under my belt, and it's just such a pleasure to watch it grow. And you get these extra features, you know. On a Monday morning, you'll get the email telling you what's better about IndieVelo this week, and you watch it grow and grow and grow. And as I was saying earlier, it's not all about little fancy graphics and people cheering at the side of the road. I'm sure that will come. I quite like that, by the way, and I look forward to the day it comes. But really, I think get the racing right first, and we'll do the superficial stuff afterwards. Just 110 metres now for Nicky to get to the finish. Comfortably 21 seconds ahead of Kurt Pedersen, who's well ahead of the Welshman, Matt James. Quite big gaps. I mean, the only two that are looking really, really close there, Stephen Lee and Thomas Helveg, quite close together, obviously riding together. Nobody else really looking like they're going to have a sprint for the line or any sort of dogfight. But nevertheless, as we've seen already, people can catch you on the line. Kurt Pedersen, the next rider, now another one of the ECKD. Isn't it fantastic how all this racing has taken off from Denmark? ECKD have been absolutely brilliant at kind of nurturing the interest in online racing in Denmark. I dare say that a lot of those riders are already doing it, but they pulled them all together and they've really built something great out there. And I think most of us in the other nations have got to look with a degree of envy at just how wonderful E-Cycling Club Denmark really is. Absolutely fantastic what they've achieved. Kurt Pedersen got over the line, and fantastic what you just achieved tonight, Kurt. It's not an easy ride, is it? Going up these mountains, they might not be the biggest, but there's still climbs, aren't they? Stephen Lee now, another one of the ECKD riders, is ahead of Thomas Helveg, the Vata rider. But I don't think that Thomas Helveg's probably more worried about Sean Lavelle, the OTR rider, riding for OTR's Wicked team. OTR basically run lots and lots of events, do loads and loads of activities and things, and have several teams. So OTR riders, I don't always think are riding. I don't know quite how James organises it, but certainly in TTTs, they'll be in different OTR teams. I'm guessing that sometimes you'll be on the OTR team. It depends how they've set it up on IndieVelo, actually, because if I've got two teams running for West London, I've got a ladies team and a men's team, and you're kind of in one or the other. I don't know how many OTR teams have been set up on IndieVelo, but certainly we can see that the rider in question was in OTR Wicked rider. Matt James is the man we're watching, 120 metres to the top, just hitting that hard bit, 16%. Not what you need at the end of a race. It's a good race all. Thank you very much, Z. You were so kind in your words on Facebook today and yesterday, I think. Very nice of you to come along and contribute there and on social media. Caesar, I'm not really sure if Caesar's a different name to one of the ones on here, but whoever you are, Caesar, you're absolutely wonderful, and thank you so much for so much support for everything we do. Matt James coming across the line, Thomas Helveg Next, as the clouds get a bit moody, and this is the little bit of a duel, isn't it? Thomas Helveg, Steppen Lee, Steppen dropping off, Steppen obviously trying to respond. You can see the body language there, but Thomas pulling away. He's got a little bit of a gap, a second's gap. They're on the 16% bit though. Who copes with it best? Thomas got the advantage at the moment now. Thomas Helveg, 1 second ahead. Steppen Lee, 1 second, isn't it? No, it's 2 seconds. Steppen just dropping off. Thomas has done it. I don't know. Steppen's now. No. Thomas is going to get it. I didn't have. For one moment, I thought Steppen was going to catch him, but obviously not. Steppen now having to settle for second in that duel. Have we got a few more riders coming in? Sean Neville, the OTR rider here. This one just says it's an OTR rider, no OTR wicked. So. Just take that as it is. Sean coming in at 23rd. Looking at some of the results here, we saw Craig Jones at 16th, Niels Bjornstein at 17th, Nicky Hogard at 18th, Kurt Pedersen 19th, Matt James, the Welshman. 2 Welsh. Look at that. If you look at the results at the moment, there's only 2 flags on there. There's 5 Danish ones and 2 Welsh ones. Matt James and Craig Jones, very well done for the Welsh, flying the Welsh flag there. Thomas Helveg and Steppen Lee making up the Danish flags there. We're going to get a British flag in a moment. This is Sean Bell, one of my countrymen. OTR wicked, but OTR, I think it's only OTR for IndieVelo team purposes. The OTR wicked is the bit he's put on in his name, denoting which OTR team he rides for, probably in the TTTs. Rob Gilmore, another British rider, will be next with the flag of St George's. Very appropriate because George Gilbert is the originator and the man behind, along with Bjorn as well. There's 2 of them. I think there might even be more actually. Rob Gilmore then is the next rider to watch. Is Rob climbing away, 900 metres to go, and yes, I think we can have a look at the top 10. Let's remind ourselves how this all finished. Didn't quite work out for Wouter Clays at the end. Couldn't quite catch Iger Copsey. They must have been flat out, a pair of them doing that. Matthew Forshaw just getting pipped by Wouter, of course, there. James Melville rolling for 4th. JD with the Israeli flag at 5th. Jesper, then we get when we get the Danish invasion, don't we? Jesper at 6th, Morton at 7th, Jakob at 9th. In there, just messing up their little party. Jorgen van Beurs, the Ratio rider from the Netherlands, and 2 Brits in the top 10 as well. John Sammer at number 10 for Pokemotion in there as well. So well done, Jesper Gotteleb, Morten Tilquist, and Jorgen and Jakob Hivid for supporting your local club's ride and doing well in it. Top 10, can't beat that, can you? Oh, well, you can beat it, but it's very impressive, isn't it? That's what we're trying to say. Never mind what I say, you know what I mean. So anyway, looking at the last 2 riders now, it's all got dark again, isn't it? So Damon, you tell me, is the moon out now? That's what I want to know. Damon, tell us, is the moon out, or is it the sun? Is it the sun with a few rain clouds? Who knows? That is the moon, isn't it? That is definitely the moon. Yep. And if I get a message saying that's the sun, I know you're winding me up then. That is definitely the moon, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, definitely the moon. Or no, I'll tell you what. I reckon Damon will send me a text in a minute saying, "No, that's a big star." Anyway, whatever it is, it's 400 metres before Rob Gilmore is going to be passing under that star and under the barra. So I'm getting informed by the technical department. It's, like on the news these days, there's so much fake news, they have to verify everything. I've just had it verified that it's officially the moon, okay? La Lune, okay. Rob Gilmore now, 370 metres to go, and he's still got a little bit of grueling 16% ahead of him, hasn't he? Oh, poor boy. In the dark, no lights on the bike. Somebody's got some lights on the bike, haven't they? Not everybody. There they are. Where they're going up to this little mountain top there. You see the whole race went up the mountain, back down again, round the velodrome, along the coast, back up the same mountain. And that's what these 2 poor guys are going through at the moment, on the track, all on their own, in the dark, with the moon shining. They're probably turning into werewolves let's let's make this utterly ridiculous. It's a full moon. We should all be worried about being out in the dark in case the werewolves come out. Tour du Monde is coming your way. We mentioned it earlier. It is 12 stages, and it's coming in January. It's got a great pedigree. It's been on RGT for years. You can see the two riders still finishing on your left. Meanwhile, you can see the Tour du Monde information on your right, coming in January 24. So 150 metres to go, and we can see the arch there, all lit up with the white line along it. We're quite fascinated by the white line. I think it's sort of quite it's quite a good visual effect, isn't it? Because when you're actually racing, you can see it a while off. As we get confirmation of some of the other results now, Sean Lavelle spoiling the Welsh and Danish party with a Union Jack in there at 23rd behind Stephen Lee. Just 116 metres left now for Rob Gilmore. He's ahead of Bruno Pereira. Bruno quite a way behind, 1 minute 14 seconds. I think we'll just watch Rob finish, have a quick look at Bruno, and then probably wrap it all up. But thank you very much, ZMS, for another fantastic production here. Thank you very much for ECKD for putting it on. IV, IndieVelo, absolutely fantastic. Doesn't the mountain look nice silhouetted there with this? I should do more of my races with this sunset malarkey. Anyway, here we go. Rob Gilmore is finishing now. So we can go back, have a quick look at Bruno. As I say, thank you very much to everybody involved in this today. This is on every Wednesday, fun for everyone. It's the ECKD race. Look out for OTR if you're out looking for a race tomorrow. OTR have got the New Horizons on Thursday evenings on IndieVelo. Look out for that around 7:30. I can't remember which. But OTR's New Horizons tomorrow. Generally during the week, Monday Malarkey at 7:30 on a Monday. OTR Titans on a Tuesday at 7. ECKD on a Wednesday at 7. And OTR's New Horizons Thursday evening. Ratio Racing have got a big thing on Friday as well. So all nights of the week catered for here on IndieVelo as we watch Bruno Pereira. He has still got 200 metres to go. I'm going to assume that he finishes it, and so that's probably about it from us tonight. Thank you very much for watching, being part of the ZMS broadcast. Thanks very much for ZMS for putting all of this on and making it so wonderful. And I think there's just so much ahead of us on IndieVelo with these sorts of broadcasts and the quality of the platform, and with so much to be added to it. Looking forward to the next year. Looking forward to next Monday when I'll be back in this seat commentating for you on Monday Malarkey. See you then.